And I just want to say, you see, this my belt for my coach, Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov. Many years ago, he told me, just training hard and you gonna be champion. And I want to give this belt. This is him and his father make me, I know.
He always told me, hey, one day you're gonna be champion. You have to train.
Я думаю, у меня есть несколько талантливых ребят. А ближе всех
Makhachev.
вместе дома, с семьей, на сборах, на соревнованиях. Могут быть простыми такими отношениями? Нет. Это уже больше, чем это.
When his dad passed away, kind of sucked all the energy. His dad was his trainer.
Yeah.
Growing up and trained a whole camp and everything else. And the dad had a vision that Khabib would be the champion. Then when Khabib retired, Islam would come in and be the champion. Let me tell you what, you want to talk about one of the greatest coaches in the history of the sport that's never talked about, Khabib Nurmagomedov's dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you think about what that guy built.
You chose to honor Abdulmanap by giving the same name to your kid. Can you explain the reasoning behind that and what that means and, you know, I guess why you decided to go that route?
Yes, father chose. My father chose this name. He say I'm gonna give him my uncle's name. No, Abdulmanap.
I dedicate this fight for my uncle, Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov.
Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov is not just a human, a coach, or the father and uncle of champions. He's an entire story that has impacted every fighter, coach, and expert in the world of mixed martial arts. It is almost impossible to fully grasp the immense contribution Abdulmanap made not only to the MMA industry, but to sports as a whole. Abdulmanap was a great coach, a great man, and a great father who, despite the hardships and challenges of a difficult life, never broke, but instead etched his name in history. His fighters, even after their mentor's passing, continued to become champions, top their division's rankings, and glorify the name of the great coach across the globe. Fans of the art, we present to you the story of the rise of an extraordinary personality, a legendary coach, and a humble man from the towering mountains of Dagestan. Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov was born on December 10, 1962, in the Republic of Dagestan. He was one of 5 children in the family, 3 boys and 2 girls. When Abdulmanap was 6 years old, his father enrolled him in physical training classes. The childhood and youth of the future great coach were far from easy. The Nurmagomedov family did not have much wealth, and Abdulmanap often had to work alongside his father to support the family. He tended livestock, grew vegetables, and took odd jobs on construction sites, factories, and plants. Even during his student years, Nurmagomedov could not fully focus on his studies, as he had been nearly self-sufficient since the age of 14. In 1987, Abdulmanap graduated with a degree in accounting and economics. Later, he joined the military, where he developed an interest in football and began training in classical sambo and judo. After several years of dedicated practice, Abdulmanap became a champion in judo in both Ukraine and Dagestan, and earned the title of USSR Master of Sports in Sambo.
Your father got you into fighting, right? I mean, your father was a champion wrestler, judo, correct? And then sambo?
Yes, he's judo and sambo. Judo, sambo, and freestyle wrestling. He 2-time Dagestan champion. You know, like he's not like before. He wrestling is very good. Like I think he like coaches, like he more good than like athlete.
Right.
And but when he athlete is so good too. You know, like when I talk with his friends, with everybody, they talk about he have like crazy conditioning. He Ukraine champion for judo and sambo. He Dagestan champion like 52 kilo and 74 kilo freestyle wrestling, and like you know, winning Dagestan championship is more hard than Russian.
Yeah.
You know, like that in Dagestan is best freestyle school like ever. in the world, you know.
However, his prospects of becoming a world champion were unexpectedly interrupted. Due to the armed conflict in Afghanistan, the USSR government decided on additional troop mobilizations, and Abdulmanap was called back into military service. It remains unclear what exactly Abdulmanap did during the war, but according to reliable Russian sources, he was responsible for the physical training of soldiers. It was during his time training soldiers in Afghanistan that he discovered his true talent. Abdulmanap decided to pursue a career as a professional coach in combat, sambo, judo, freestyle wrestling, and hand-to-hand sambo. Upon demobilization, he immediately began looking for work as a coach and started training groups of young men aged 8 to 16. His first star pupil was his younger brother, Nurmagomedov, who went on to become a world champion in sambo. Throughout his career, Abdulmanap trained 18 world champions, 21 medalists, and 4 Olympic champions. Magomed, his brother, achieved the title of Master of Sports in freestyle wrestling and became a candidate for Master of Sports in sambo, drawing the attention of the Olympic Committee. Abdulmanap later served as the head coach of the Dagestan Olympic freestyle wrestling team and also worked as a consultant for his country's national teams in sambo and judo. Additionally, he provided individual training for athletes, helping them prepare for competitions. Despite his immense success as a coach, Abdulmanap always dreamed of achieving something greater. Many coaches around the world train Olympic champions and competition winners. However, Nurmagomedov wanted the world to know about the masterful school of Dagestani wrestling and combat sambo. He aimed to elevate these disciplines to the top of the global stage, producing champions in the most competitive sport, champions whose names would be recognized worldwide. But such an ambitious and incredibly risky plan would have been impossible without extensive preparation and a flawless strategy. Nurmagomedov spent years training his athletes to ensure they would bring glory to the Dagestani school of martial arts on the world stage.
The old school discipline, and of course sometimes I didn't understand him, but I all the time follow him. I follow him, even I didn't understand why I need this one, but I follow him because my father said this.
Здесь 1750 метров, сосновый лес. Вы сами видите, как здесь тяжело дышать. Как только спускаемся, нам становится легче. Задача ведь такая, тяжело в учении, легко в бою. Я думаю, эти сборы дадут ребятам последняя подготовка. И слава Макхачева здесь. Khabib еще, наверное, успеет.
As a proponent of the classical training style, Abdulmanap trained his students under incredibly demanding conditions. Discipline and obedience were always his top priorities. His students never missed a training session and followed their coach's instructions without question. Nurmagomedov's weekly training program was rigorous, consisting of approximately 15 hours of sparring, 20 hours of physical conditioning, 10 hours of theory, 10 hours of practice, 5 hours of final drills. In addition, his students were required to sleep at least 8 hours a day, follow a strict diet, maintain a healthy lifestyle, keep up with their studies in school or university. This grueling training regimen was only part of the preparation for athletes aiming to compete on the world stage. During preparation for professional fights, Abdulmanap students endured conditions so tough that they were essentially surviving the process. For example, if you told a casual fan that their favorite fighter once wrestled a bear, they would likely dismiss it as a joke or an impossible claim. After all, what coach in their right mind would make their trainee fight a wild animal? However, Khabib Nurmagomedov wrestled a bear not once but twice, first at the age of 8 and again during training for an important UFC fight.
When was the last time that you fought a bear?
Like 3 weeks ago, before I come back here. We have grappling match. He choked me 2 times, but 1 time I choked him too.
The incredible intense pace of training and brutal physical demands meant that Abdulmanap's students completely dedicated themselves to their craft, remaining loyal to their mission until the very end. For them, there were no wild parties or carefree lifestyles, and Fridays were nothing more than just another day of the week. This was the philosophy of Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov.
There's not just room in martial arts for the Lees and for the Gracies. There are philosophies out there. You put them to test. and they hold up or they don't. Coach Nurmagomedov's philosophies, for me as a viewer, are amongst the best I've ever witnessed.
Despite the physical and mental challenges of training, Abdulmanap placed the greatest emphasis on discipline. No matter how talented or famous a fighter was, there was no room for them in Nurmagomedov's gym if they lacked commitment or failed to adhere to discipline.
Dagestan, that's an interesting element too. Those Russian wrestlers.
I don't think just because of their wrestling. I think it's because of their discipline. Those guys don't think about anything else.
Before debuting in the UFC, Abdulmanap's fighters dominated all of their opponents in regional and local promotions. By the time they entered the world's top league, they came with a flawless record of at least 10 dominant victories and 0 losses. Before we move on to the next point, we'd like to clarify something. You may think that the father's plan revolved around just 2 champions, Khabib and Islam, right? That's not the case. The father's plan, which Abdulmanap carried in his heart all those years, was meticulously crafted, and it is still unfolding today. Now, it's time to introduce you to the 4 horsemen of Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov.
Khabib Abdulmanapovich Nurmagomedov. This is my, correctly.
This built for the bums, the people who never can be champion, they give him some belt. Guys, be happy, fight for BMF. This is what it is, I don't know.
I'd like to say thank you to everybody in Russia, everybody in Dagestan, my entire team, my coaches, Javier Mendes. Thank you for support.
Congratulations, sir. Umar Nurmagomedov, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry.
Cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger.
Isn't it
You like
cheeseburger?
cheeseburger?
Yeah.
Okay. Umar, what do you like to eat?
Coke.
Coke?
Careful how you say that.
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola, yeah.
Yeah, Coca-Cola. That's bad guy right there. Don't let that guy talk to you guys. He's a bad influence on you guys.
Yes, you understood that correctly. The father's plan consisted of 4 stages, 2 of which have already been successfully completed. We've all come to admire the Dagestani champions, although in their personal lives they are humble, reserved, love to joke, and are deeply religious. The moment the cage door closed, these men transformed into true monsters who left their opponents with no chance of victory. Now, it's time to explore the legacy of the great coach.
Sambo was easy. It would be called jiu-jitsu. It would be called Luke Rockhold. It's okay. Ask Luke what happened today. Ask Luke, please. Ask
Most top talents I've seen at lightweight and at welterweight, and I've grappled with them. And Khabib he's more than anything than any lightweight has ever really felt, and most all welterweights.
I'm gonna come, just send me a message. Of course they know a lot of security here, media, it's gonna be big, you understand, they come with 30 people. Come here, send me a message, like location, I'm gonna come, whatever you want, doesn't matter, Ireland, New York, Brooklyn or Moscow, doesn't matter. Tell me, where?
We've never seen dominance like this. He's never been cut. He's never been dropped. We have never been in a Khabib Nurmagomedov fight and thought, oh my God, he might lose.
How is your thought process right now heading into tomorrow night?
First of all, I want to say Alhamdulillah. Allah always have better plan than we have. And this week they asked me fight with 5 different guys. Hey, I say, I'm tired about this. If you can bring King Kong and he can make 155, let's go.
Nurmagomedov in red, Ally Quintas in blue. We did hear some rumblings. He might try to do some offensive wrestling early. Some vision issues for Al with that left eye now. He's having trouble seeing. Flying knee lands.
Your guy, beginning of the year, he tap like chicken. End of the year, he fight for the title. I wanna fight for your chicken because this is #1 easy fight in lightweight division.
I don't give a fuck what he's gonna try and do. He's gonna be swinging wildly like he is, sloppy, shooting for the legs. He's an amateur. He's a 20. Would you believe he's 26-0? I've never met an unbeaten amateur in the professional game. I mean, he's fucking fought nobody, absolutely nobody. Anyone that he's half fought has been decisions. He's in over his head. I'm gonna pick him apart and bully him in there and absolutely maul him, and that's it.
Tomorrow night, I'm gonna smash your boy, guys. I'm gonna smash your boy. He can say whatever he wants. When alcoholic, someone drunk guy talk, nobody cares about him. And when we go to the cage, we will see who's gonna talk.
McGregor lands early. Pressure right off the bat by Conor. He's trying to force the shot out of Khabib with pressure. Now he's got it. But a good defense by Conor shows that he fits. Exactly the start that Khabib Nurmagomedov was looking for in round one. Oh! Massive right from Nurmagomedov! And a knee from McGregor now! Nasty right hand. Wow! And that's the problem with takedowns is they gain the respect of the striker. Your striking gets better if you force takedowns because you're thinking about the shot. And now the shot's set up from the overhand. He goes back and forth, and that's what's made Nurmagomedov the best. That right hand.
On the chin.
There's the tap! Still undisputed! Khabib Nurmagomedov!
There was so much said and written, day and night, so many comments. In the end, we brought him down. We said we'd spend one round and stand up. We did. We said it wasn't enough to just win, but that we'd make him submit. That's exactly what we did. Khabib achieved worldwide recognition and the love of fans everywhere. Millions of fans across the globe eagerly awaited his next fight. The first stage of the father's plan had come to fruition. His son became a fully fledged world champion and defended his title against arguably the most popular athlete in the world at that time. Khabib went on to defend his title against the legendary Dustin Poirier. That fight resembled all of the Eagle's previous bouts. Incredible dominance, masterful pressure, and total control. Yet it was different in its own way, as Abdulmanap himself was present to witness his son defend the championship title.
I have father here. My father. I want to say thank you for my father. Come here, coach. I have my coach here, Javier Mendez. I have my brothers, everybody. Like we born together, you know, like grew up.
At one point, when there was no movement, I thought, could it be a choke? I started to doubt a little and said, "Move your hand." He moved his elbow, and at that moment I felt reassured. The shy, modest gaze of the great coach conveyed everything he had endured. A hard-earned victory and a well-deserved reward. Now, the entire world knew of the finest mixed martial arts school, named after Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov. But, tragically, the great coach was unable to see his greatest plan fully realized, as fate had other plans for him.
It was my last fight. It was first time when, after what happened with my father, I promised her it was my last fight here. I know only one thing. You guys have to put me on number one.
He's a hard guy. We all know how much he loved his dad and how close they were. His dad was a hard man. His dad, raised him to be a man's man. His dad passed and it started to come out. I reached out to him and I said, oh my God, I'm so sorry, whatever. And all he hit me back with was, "Thank you, Dana, I appreciate it."
The passing of Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov struck the world like a bolt from the blue. The retirement of the most dominant champion in UFC history, the disbanding of the Dagestani team, and the crowning of a new champion in the lightweight division. Was this truly the end of everything the great coach had built?
I never met Khabib's dad. Here's what happened, guys. See, this stuff means a lot to me. Khabib, who's looking out for Islam.
Islam was for my father like his son. My dad always keeps saying Islam is the future champ. That's why I have to be here, and that's why I have to finish what my father began.
Islam versus Charles, who have you got in that one? Charles Oliveira. I think Charles Oliveira gets the job done. I think Islam, not that he's not great, not that he is not highly touted, not that he is not going to be a future champion, but there should be no reason why he should ever be a favorite in that fight against Charles Oliveira. What Charles Oliveira has done over the last couple fights, finishing everybody that he's fighting.
People finish him 7 times, but the UFC, some guys finish him 7 times. And this guy champion in my division. I'm very upset because of it.
That's insane. Champion, dominant champion, submitting everybody. underdog. That's how good Islam is. That's nuts.
Islam Makhachev, the fighter who had spent years in the shadow of Khabib Nurmagomedov, simply couldn't afford to miss his chance on the night of his championship fight against Charles Oliveira.
Triangle. Oh, it's a finish the top. Islam Makhachev submits Charles Oliveira to win the title. Wow!
And I just want to say, you see, this my belt for my coach, Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov. Many years ago, he told me, just training hard and you're gonna be champion. And I wanna give this belt. Him and his father make me, I know.
What did I think of the main event?
Yeah, the finish.
Incredible. I mean, I've been saying all week, you got two of the absolute best in the world in their prime facing off, and you know, when I went up into the octagon after, Khabib said, I told you he's the best in the world. And yeah, I mean, to beat Oliveira is one thing, to beat him the way he beat him is another, and as fast as he did it, he looked incredible tonight. You know, the big question going in tonight was how was he going to deal with the pressure? He dealt with it just fine.
Fans doubted whether Islam could handle such a formidable opponent. Their skepticism was understandable. They didn't yet realize what Abdulmanap's heir was truly capable of. When Islam became champion, he completed the second stage of the father's plan. Taking over from Khabib, he brought the championship belt back home. What followed were dominant title defenses against some of the best fighters in the world.
He's as good as it gets. He's as good as it gets. He's the most complete fighter on the roster because he submits people. Like he submitted Poirier in the final round.
Yeah.
Incredible submission. But he was winning that fight already.
Yeah.
But then, you know, he can also knock you out. He literally does everything. He's one of the best wrestlers in the sport. His top control and his squeeze is insane.
Yeah.
Like remember when he tapped out Drew Dober? He got a hold of Drew Dober. It's like Drew Dober had zero chance of moving. He wasn't going anywhere. He was just crushed. It was like he was fighting a man twice his size.
Defeating the pound-for-pound #1 fighter and submitting the best boxer in mixed martial arts.
He switched the hips.
Oh, wow.
That was nasty. Oh, guillotine. Oh, that's tight.
Overtapped. Islam Makhachev with a submission in round 5. The throne remains in
Islam solidified his place as the top fighter in the world, regardless of weight class. Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov students were twice recognized as the best in the world.
When you're talking about Khabib and him, when I say so much stronger, it's like 2%. Maybe he's 2% stronger. That 2% though is huge when you're talking the 1% of the top fighters.
Each of the great coaches' champions was greater than the one before. And now we will tell you how the third stage of the father's plan is being brought to life.
Nurmagomedov, he steps down, but then you have Umar Nurmagomedov.
He looks great, man.
Fucking phenomenal. Completely different style.
Yep.
Like
just
evil
accidentally
striker.
knocked out a guy now, too.
Oh
Did you
my
see that?
God.
That was
sick.
And then he felt bad about it. He was like holding his head. I'm like, well,
such a good guy, right?
It's awesome to see, but
KOs him, and then after follow-up shot, it's like, oh, you're
shit, sorry,
you're out.
I didn't know you were sleeping.
Umar is not Sean O'Malley. Like he's the biggest threat for all of us, dude. And I said, what you're going up against is you're going up against a killer.
Who cares? Who cares about deserve, not deserve?
Be man first. You have to be man first. You are a good fighter, but you're not a good man.
I'm the man.
You are piece of shit, okay? You are piece of shit. You lost respect. You lost respect as a man for me, okay?
Umar will be a champion. Umar will break Khabib's record, and he will start undefeated. He is this good. Umar is the best out of all of them. He's better than Khabib, Islam, Usman. He's well-rounded. I know Umar for 10 years, right? For the last 5 years, I haven't seen anybody take Umar down. I'm talking about he trained with Islam Makhachev, trained with his brother, he trained with some of the best guys.
Umar's a sniper, man. Like, people don't really realize how fast that guy is and how good he is and how his kicks come out of nowhere.
I don't know why Merab nervous, but I think Umar deserves. Umar here not because he is my cousin. He's here because he's 18-0 and 6-0 in UFC.
Umar Nurmagomedov is the most promising fighter of the great coach's quartet. He is magnificent in his bouts. Like his older brother, Umar is dominant and incredibly precise in grappling, but in striking, he transforms into a true butcher. Nurmagomedov's path to a title fight was long and challenging, but a series of unfortunate circumstances prevented him from bringing the belt home to Dagestan. Years of training, thousands of hours of sparring, and liters of sweat paved the way for Umar to reach a championship fight. However, according to most experts, he lacked the expertise needed to claim the title. Credit must be given to Merab, who delivered the best performance of his career that night. Umar fell short in cardio preparation and experience in fights of such magnitude.
He shouldn't be trying for takedowns. I didn't want, because it takes a lot of energy, because I knew that we had Energizing Bunny on the other side, and the more energy we wasted, especially when you can't take him down easy, I was thinking, what the hell? So now I realized why he tried to take him down, because he broke his freaking hand.
Despite these challenges, Umar performed admirably in the title fight, firmly establishing himself in the top 3 of his division. Now he needs to face several top-tier opponents to sharpen his skills, and then he will be ready for the title once more. Rest assured, this young man has all the potential to meet the high expectations placed upon him. Well, time will tell. Now, let's move on to Usman.
I think Usman is right now one of the best lightweight in the world. I was before, now is our brother Islam, and Usman is next. And this is dynasty. I think many years people gonna talk and they don't even understand why.
Who is better, Umar or Usman? Which is the better brother?
For sure, Usman. This guy number 1.
Khabib mentioned that he believes you are the future of the sport. And DC has said that you are the most talented member of your family. Do any of these comments from such legends of the sport put any pressure on you?
Not pressure, just I got here this, and I just gonna be, inshallah, I will prove this. That's it.
I dedicate this fight for my uncle, Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov.
Usman Nurmagomedov is the final piece of Khabib's father's plan, the entire team of the great coach. All the fighters and Usman himself are acutely aware of this. Feeling the weight of responsibility, Usman consistently lives up to the expectations placed upon him. With Khabib Nurmagomedov in his corner, Usman simply sees no equals inside the cage. But perhaps even more importantly, Usman is a distinct and independent part of the Nurmagomedov clan's team.
He has to finish his job in Bellator, and when he come to UFC, he will show our school level, because our division in the team very strong.
Your corner is like, you feel like behind you, you have like mountain, and now doesn't matter what's gonna happen, even if somebody gonna be put you in a bad situation in the fight. Khabib know what you have to do. For me, it's feeling great. This is first time when my corner from champion, and we'll see.
Look at those heavy Nurmagomedov hips, and that was the problem. As soon as his head comes up, trying to choke Umar Nurmagomedov, the victim.
Despite having Khabib's support during fights, Usman has proven to be a self-sufficient fighter, one who has grown and flown out of the eagle's nest, showcasing his ability to soar on his own.
In the black trunks, Usman Nurmagomedov in the white. 155-pound world championship slated. Southpaw stands for Usman.
That's it.
Really good movement so far. Ripping to the body is Paul Hughes, attacking that liver.
Oh man, that was bad. I heard that. The interesting thing is how those exchanges play out in the minds of both fighters. They both took a hit to their cardio, no doubt about it.
Takedown and finish on top. Another swing from Paul Hughes. What timing, ripping to the body and swinging away to the final.
Still undefeated, Usman!
I was without my team.
and I prepare my fight without my team, like without Khabib, without Islam, without my brother Umar, Gaji, everyone. I was in the gym in Dagestan and I was alone. This is not easy sport. No.
Not specifically this
No,
sport.
to be honest, no. This is like bad sport. Like, no. Guys, please enjoy your life.
He will be in the top in the UFC. Of course, he not come to take my belt. He will wait. But he's a young, he's a hungry. He can be next.
Usman's most recent fight is a testament to his exceptional skill level. He secured a convincing victory over one of the best strikers in the lightweight division today. Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov is not just a man, but an entire chapter in the history of mixed martial arts, one that revolutionized the sport. Through his innovative approach, he forever changed the world of MMA, compelling every fighter to both fear and respect the art of grappling. We hold on to the hope that the final phase of the legendary coach's plan will be brought to completion. A great man and a great coach, Abdulmanap did more than enough to ensure his name is etched into history. His fighters continue to win and dominate, and one can imagine that he is watching it all from above, waiting for the moment when the father's plan fully becomes the reality that defines the world of mixed martial arts.